Welcome into Husky Talk. I'm Chris Jones. We got a special edition here. Darius Butler of the UConn Football team played 9 seasons in the NFL, Patriots, Panthers, and Colts. Darius, hey, thanks for joining us. I know it's a crazy time for everyone. Man, I can't believe 2004, 2008. It's been that long since you're on the field at the Ren. It's crazy. What have you been up to since the end of your NFL career, though, with the Colts, 2017?
Oh yeah, it's been a while, man. Time flies, but I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying the ride the whole way. Since being done with the NFL, the first year I just kind of took it to relax and kind of figure out what I wanted to do next. Spend some time with the family, and I went to broadcast boot camp, try to fill that out and really learn more about that business on the inside, because I thought that a lot of people told me like that'll be something you could be good at in your second career. So I had some opportunities in broadcasting last year, and we'll have some coming up this year. So I've been enjoying that. Also started my own show on YouTube, and got a social media page on Instagram and Twitter with Everything DB, where I just talk about the intricacies of playing the defensive back positions. And been doing that. I've been a real estate investor since my later years in the league, and now taking more of a hands-on approach with that. My good friend that I actually met on my recruiting visit to UConn, a best friend, Tavon Branch. We actually partnered in creating a real estate development company as well. So been staying busy. I also went back to school, so now I'm going to Florida at the Cabelli School of Business, getting my MBA right now. So that's been put on pause for with what's going on right now with COVID. But I've been busy.
That's awesome to hear. Let's take it way back, the recruiting process, and even before that, kind of youth football down in the Miami area, obviously a hotbed. When did you know you wanted to go to the next level, play collegiate football, and what was that recruiting process like for you?
For me, being from Fort Lauderdale, which is, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Palm Beach, like you said, it's a hotbed for talent, especially as far as college recruiters. Everybody came down here and, picked a lot of the best players. So I actually kind of flew under the radar. I went to a fairly new high school, a charter school, actually was one of the first charter schools down here. And I was actually the first Division I signing from my school ever. I think we were in existence for the football team for like 4 or 5 years when I signed. So it was a different recruiting process for me. This was before Huddle, before social media, where you could put out highlights and make yourself known. So actually, what I did was it was my mom's idea. So I played basketball as well, and one of my better attributes was my jumping ability, athletic ability. So my mom was like, you know what? I wasn't getting the calls from the schools that I wanted, and I sent tapes out of just me dunking, like in my high school gym, just doing windmills, 360s, and I sent that recruiting tape up to Coach Essel and Coach Richardson, and they kind of put it in the vault and kind of hid it, try to wrap it up, and it was kind of like some folklore. Like when I got up to campus, all the older guys wanted me to dunk and do all these things. So, but the recruiting process, it was fun. It was different. And like I said, I flew under the radar, but I got up to UConn, and it ended up being, one of the best experiences of my life.
What is life like? Childhood football. Just read up, looking you up in your bio that man, you got some football blood. Willis McGahee is a cousin, Geno Atkins. So you have some guys that you're able to kind of compete against while you're getting at the collegiate level, and then obviously once you get to the NFL.
Yeah, so those family ties definitely help, especially with Willis. He's related on my dad's side, and Gino, we're not actually blood, but married in. But having those and Willis, he was someone to lean on during the process when I was coming out. I was thinking about coming out after my redshirt junior year, and then when I came out after my senior year, he had already knew what to expect. So, as far as combine, as far as interviewing with teams and all those things. So he was definitely a great resource to have. But definitely genes helped. That helped. But, honing your skills and working as hard as possible and competing. And those are a lot of the things that I picked up even more so being up at UConn.
You redshirted that first year, and then once you started playing, you were starting in one of the top corners on the team. What were those early, those first few months like when you were redshirting and trying to, absorb everything, new college life, new setting
Yeah.
for you up in the Northeast instead of down there in Florida?
Yeah, you know what? I was pissed off that I redshirted to be completely honest with you. I had no idea what a red shirt was.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even a thought process because coming from down here, the idea is, we feel like we're the best in football, period. I'm sure it's different places, like, different states have, basketball states, hockey or whatever, but like South Florida, like football is our thing. So wherever we go in the country, we feel like we're the best. So, like I said, I felt like I flew under the radar, and got up to UConn, and I was, 160 something pounds soaking wet. And, go through training camp, competing against Dan Orlowski. I heard a lot about him. We had Karan Henry at the time. Terry Colley was coming back after injury. So I was like, okay, I'm competing. I'm holding my own. I'm balling, comparing myself to the other corners, DBs there. And then right before the season, as Coach Essel and I believe my position coach, Coach Lagatos, was like, we're going to give you a year to, develop your body more. You're going to be redshirting. So I'm like, what does that mean? So he was like, basically you're doing everything except playing in the games on Saturdays. So like I said, that sucked at first, but once I accepted my role and accepted what it was, I enjoyed it, and that was my challenge. The practices were my game days, and like I said, I had opportunities to go against Dan Orlowski, who was a very highly touted recruit and prospect going to the NFL. Jason Williams, Karan Henry, Dan Murray. Had a lot of guys that I was able to hone my skills and compete, and I'm going against our best players every day in practice. So I took advantage of that, and then that off season, I worked my tail off. Spring ball came around, and I took the starting position, and I never looked back.
Obviously, a great career at UConn. Are there any games, moments that really stick out in your mind over those 4 years on the field?
Oh man, it's a lot of great moments. So kind of making that, we were in the Big East the first year I got there. I think that was our first year in the Big East. So that was my senior year. The senior year when we got ranked, I think we were one of the fastest team. I think the second fastest team to go, D1A, and then go to rank. And we got all the way up to like 13th in the country. We were on like an 8 or 9 game win streak. That year was just so fun, so exciting. And playing offense when Randy finally let me play offense my senior year, that was great. I had some good plays against Virginia, scoring on a reverse. I remember that game against Baylor when RG3 came in town, and just how loud the rent was. The year we beat South Florida when they were ranked pretty high. It's just so many great. The double overtime when DJ threw the ball into the stands. We had so many great memories, man, and obviously a lot of teammates and relationships that last a lifetime.
That senior year, 2008, your first team all Big East, and the respect factor, just 0 interceptions, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Fans will go to the box score and kind of look at it, but how did you feel throughout that year as a lockdown corner there in the Big East?
It was still fun. It was still fun because as a corner, as a defensive back, every play matters, and it could just be the 1 or 2 plays, and people can look at the game like, oh man, this guy sucked. He gave up a touchdown or he slipped, and so it's a high pressure job, and week in and week out, a lot of times I was matched up on one of the better guys on their team, probably the best receiver option. So even if I'm taking that guy out of the game because I'm not getting targeted much, I'm still helping my team. And then, like I said, being that I wasn't getting as much action, and I had kind of, my coach, he was like, what, once you kind of master the cornerback position, we're going to let you play some offense. So I had like a 15-play script on offense. So I would split my time in practice during the week. I would spend some periods with offense and go back to defense. And that was probably the most fun I had playing football. Because in high school, I playing every snap on defense, playing every snap on offense. And then you get to college, and it was like, I remember my mom, she's like, I feel like you don't play anymore. Like, I'm like, Mom, I play, like, I've been a starter since my freshman year. And she's like, I feel like you're not on the field enough. Like, and, so that was just her norm. So to get me involved in games on the offensive end was a whole lot of fun.
When's the NFL draft enter your brain? When's the NFL kind of become something that can become a reality at some point during your college career?
During my college career, I had the mindset and the dream and the goal, even before I got to college. It didn't matter where I went. And honestly, going to UConn, a lot of people where I'm from didn't even know where UConn was. You couldn't think of anybody in the NFL like that came to mind. Okay, you're going to UConn. Yeah, he'll be in the NFL a couple of years. Like, it just wasn't, it was going to UM, it was going to Florida State, it was going to University of Florida. So being that I went to UConn, that never dissuaded me. But getting up there and kind of building something, being a part of a group that built something and brought, this program from one level and brought it up to a higher level was an amazing feeling. But, I always felt like it was a reality, honestly. And going, like I said, after my junior year, I had 4 interceptions my freshman year, which, most people didn't know about me. Sophomore year, same thing. And then junior year, kind of getting more respect, not getting thrown at as much. I think I only had 2 interceptions. And then senior year, like you said, no interceptions, and I was barely getting thrown at. But I knew I had the intangibles as far as the physical traits, and had great coaches, Scott Lagatos, Todd Orlando, Coach Hughes, Coach Essel, obviously, having the background that he had. Being that he had coached NFL DBs before that. It was always a goal of mine. And the guys on that team, Donald Brown, Will Beatty, Cody Brown, Tyvon Branch, Dane Lansander, we all pushed each other, to be better every day.
Talk a little bit about that stretch of UConn. Really, all these universities talk about how they're DBU, but for UConn, there is that stretch there. And you talked about your buddy Ty. You guys kind of got that going after you guys, Gratz, Bleedy Ray, Byron Jones, McLean, but you guys were the first 2 that, made it to the league. What kind of, when you're in an NFL locker room, you see all these Huskies from a certain position, a defensive back, what kind of pride does that give you?
Honestly, that gave us a great sense of pride, and especially feeling like, you kind of the old heads or the OGs that kind of, got some things started. And we learned from some great guys. We got there. We had Justin Perkins. We had John Fletcher, Alan Barnes, Ernest Cole, those guys, MJ Estep. Those guys showed us the ropes and showed us how to be done. Like I said, they were going from a smaller program, and we felt like we were kind of taking it to another level. We were on prime time a lot. We were on ESPN a lot. So when we're out there, like we're trying to make plays, we're trying to change the game. We called ourselves the dog pound, and we were thick as thieves. And anybody who stepped into whatever role they were given, the same was expected from the starter to the last guy on the depth chart. And I remember Robert McLean stepping up, making plays. Jasper Howard, rest so always making plays when his opportunity came. And Tyvon, he got drafted the year before me. He went and had an amazing combine. I think he ran like 4.2s, 4.3s, went on to have a great 10-year career. So, the table was set. The pressure was on me the following year to follow up and kind of show out at the combine as well. And I think that was another somebody who was very instrumental outside of the position coach, like I spoke on, Scott Lagatos, Randy Essel, Todd Orlando. But Coach Jerry Martin, like he probably, God rest his soul, he probably had the biggest impact on the program as a whole, for the guys that came before me, after me. And that's why you see the combine. I would have people call me almost every year. You got Obi, you got Byron Jones, like, yo, every year I'm going to jump in 40-something inch verts, these 11-foot broad jumps. Guys running 4.2s, 4.3s, like y'all coming from UConn, like that's something expected from, LSU or Alabama or something. You just saw it year in and year out. And it was because of the culture that Jerry Martin built in that weight room and our off-season programs and how we competed. And he was one of the only people, I would say, that made me, feel like I could do something even greater than I thought I could do. You know what I mean? So, definitely hats off to Jerry Martin and what he did for our group.
Yeah, you obviously mentioned Jerry there. Just talk as a whole, Coach Etzel and the coaching staff of what they've they've meant for your career, both on the field and in life?
You know, they were taught. They were very very. I would call it, yeah, disciplinary. You know what I mean? And coming in, it was a no BS type thing, and that's what being on the next level, being a professional, it definitely helped. It prepared us a lot. I know, speak for myself, just like it was no BS. Like, you knew where you had to be, you knew what time you had to be there, you knew what you had to do. You knew you had to be accountable to your teammates, to yourself, to your coaches, to your family. And those were things that were stressed on a daily basis. And it got to a point where my junior year, I was voted captain. And during that time, kind of going from my sophomore year, junior year, we were kind of struggling, not doing great on the field. And it was honestly because the locker room wasn't where it needed to be. The culture, as far as that locker room, wasn't right. And I remember actually getting rid of a lot of guys and because they were doing some of the wrong things. And as a junior being voted a captain, it was like, okay, we're going to take this onus on ourselves to kind of police ourselves and let our coaches focus more on coaching. And that we took off from that point on, because everybody, like I said, was accountable. So the coaches weren't getting up at 6 a.m. anymore for the guys who needed the punishment for missing class or being late to breakfast shake or something like that. Now it was like, all right, we're going to do this as captain. So when I got to get up at 5:30 to come run you in the stadium, now we have some real issues. You know, if DJ Hernandez or Keith Gray or whoever the captain is, Cody Brown, got to get up at that time in the morning, it's going to be different. So that took us really to another level. And the coaches, they always did an amazing job having us prepared for what was coming on and off the field. And even after college, you know, I still talk to Coach Lakatos to this day. Still talk to my recruiting coach, Terry Richardson, who recruited me to UConn, recruited a bunch of guys to UConn. Still talk to Coach Essel. So we could create that family. Still talk to Coach Baylock here there.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I stay in touch with the guys as much as possible, man.
Hey, what's draft day like for Darius Butler? What are the nerves like? What's the celebration like when you finally get snagged by the New England Patriots?
It's a crazy experience because it's something you put so much work into, you know, so much hope, wishing into, because regardless of how much you work and how much you put into it, like, it's a fair share of luck that has to be on your side, as far as injuries, you know, making play, like all of it, having the right coaches. Like, I was fortunate enough to have the same coaching staff my entire college career. I had Randy as head coach, I had Lakatos, I had Todd Orlando as my D coordinator. So having that continuity helped. But and it's just all coming in one. You think about your childhood, you think about your college experience, you're thinking about everything you put in from the draft process, as far as the combine, the interviews, the visits, the private workouts, pro days. And then it's like, you know, it's the Hayes in the barn now. So now it's all about one team, you know, liking me and picking me. And then you have your expectations. So I had like a round 1 to 2 draft grade. So I didn't know if and that was the times where the first and second round on the same day. So it got kind of anxious getting towards the around the middle and the end of the first round, and then finally getting called, you know, the 41st pick with the Patriots. And they had actually ran Bill Belichick had came and pretty much ran my pro day up at UConn. So he was there, and I think at that point he hadn't gone to many pro days, or that wasn't really his thing. But he came out there and he spoke some great words about me after my pro day. So I figured there would be one of the teams that would be targeting me. And once they finally called me, it was exciting. You know, it was just outpour emotions with my family, my brothers, my friends, college teammates, Rare, Donald Thomas, Tyvon Branch. So it was an amazing experience once it actually happened. Once your lifelong dreams actually happen, you hear your name, you see your name called, you know, all those things finally come true. And then you realize it's only the beginning. It's only the start of a whole nother chapter.
What's your welcome to the NFL moment, your aha moment, like, oh, I'm here? Is it you see a Tom Brady or something like that, or is it once you get in that first game, you know, getting those first snaps?
You know what? I got mine early, like you said, because going to being that I got drafted, and I was fortunate because, you know, the Patriots are right there. You know, I went to school in Connecticut, and I go right to New England. So now, you know, I got a lot of the same fans in the area. A lot of my college buddies and teammates are still watching, come to games. So it was cool. But, coming into that locker room, you're seeing Bill Belichick, you're walking past Bill Belichick's office, you see, all of the pictures and the history of the franchise, and then you got Tom Brady and Randy Moss and Wes Welker. These are the guys you got to cover in practice. So I got my welcome to the NFL moment in practice early, and a lot of their things, the way they disciplined, the way they went about their business was very similar to UConn. So it was a smooth transition for me. And I enjoyed it, man. Like I said, I got it early in practice. So by the time I hit the games, I was ready to roll.
What was those early games like? Would you have a pick in your first career game?
No. So my first game, they actually just came on ESPN the other night. Crazy. It was a Monday Night Football game, actually. First game. And we played against the Buffalo Bills. And they had Terrell Owens, Lee Evans, Roscoe Parrish. I had a lot of guys who I had looked up to playing. So that was a crazy experience to be playing on Monday Night Football. And then the game after me was a doubleheader. Was Tyvon. Tyvon was playing the Raiders. He was with the Raiders, and he was playing against the Chargers. So it was like, that was my first NFL experience. And the game actually was a crazy comeback win. It was Tom Brady's first game coming off the ACL year. And it was a crazy comeback victory. And it's funny, the last play of the game. So I'll tell you, this would be my welcome to NFL moment. The very last play of the game, the Bills have the ball. And they throw it's one of those plays where you throw the ball and you pitch it back and you just keep pitching, time's expired. So they're catch the ball, pitching it to T.O., pitching to Roscoe Parrish, pitching to this guy. And I missed 3 tackles in one play. I'm getting throw it to the tight end first, I hit him, I bounce off him, ping, pitch it back to somebody, I whiff on the tackle. Something happens, I miss another tackle, the ball's on the ground, I miss the ball, the fumble recovery. So, we win the game. I'm thinking it's over. Game.
You got to go to the film room.
So we get in the film room the next day, and Bill Belichick's famous for his low lights. So he gets to the low light. He gets to the low lights, and he goes all the way through. And I'm thinking, we won the game. He's not going to show the last play. We won the game. And then he just kind of stops the meeting. And he's like, you know what? I've been coaching the NFL for over 30 years. And, I've never in my coaching career seen a guy miss 3 tackles on one play. The Butler, what the – I'm like, I was hustling. Where was everybody else? So that was probably my welcome to the NFL moment, my first game.
How far into your NFL career, even if it's those first games of that year, do you feel confident, hey, I belong? I know I can stick with these guys.
You know what? Like I said, I was fortunate enough to have it in practice. Getting to practice, going up competing against in training camps, and our practice were intense. And at the Patriots, and when you get to the pros, the practices aren't as intense as college practices. But in the Patriots organization, the practices were pretty intense. So I went to the season with a lot of confidence. And but until you start making those your plays again on that next level, that's when it takes your confidence to another level. So, I made a lot of plays actually my rookie year. I actually got my first interception on another crazy game. It was a 59-0 blowout. We blew out the Titans.
Yep.
I think Brady threw 6 touchdowns. That was actually the morning that Jasper Howard passed away. And I woke up to ridiculous amounts of calls, and it was just I remember that day like it was yesterday. And we played that game. We actually had a conversation that day because that was the weekend where it was a homecoming game for UConn. I believe it was against Louisville. I'm not sure. Yep. And Jasper had a big forced fumble at the end of the game, and then he spoke after the game. And he was just like, you play our last play, you're ever gonna play, and that was something we always said. And I spoke to him after that game. And we were talking about, kind of joking back and forth about who, because neither one of us had an interception yet. So I was like, I'm going to get one first. He was like, no, I'm going to get one first. So I was like, all right, I got a game tomorrow. So, we'll see. So I actually went out there, obviously with a heavy heart, got my first interception against Kerry Collins. And I just remember pointing up to the sky and all my teammates jumping on me, surrounding me. So, yeah, that was actually one of the turning moments early in my career. Because like you said, you make that first play, that first interception. And, it just gives you a different sense of confidence.
How much pride do you have those first couple NFL seasons as you look back in UConn? Meanwhile, you guys were the guys that built the foundation for the program. And when you move on, there's wins against Notre Dame. They go to the Fiesta Bowl. How much pride did you have that you guys were part of that, even though you weren't directly on the field when those moments happened?
So much pride. And that's, especially being in the NFL, everybody's still repping their college team, their college colors. We're all in a hotel together on the day before the game, which is Saturday. So everybody's talking or betting on their team. And, seeing us go to the Fiesta Bowl, seeing us having those big, huge wins against Notre Dame and schools like that, beating South Carolina, the Papa John's Bowl. I had some SEC and some South Carolina guys on my team, so I definitely rubbed that in their face as much as possible. Just knowing you played a part in building that, and seeing the actual guys make those plays, like whether it be a Scott Luttress or Dwayne Gratz, who I hosted him on his recruiting visit, Robert McClain, Jasper Howard, whoever, Lawrence Wilson, whoever these guys are that you see your younger guys still making plays and carrying on the legacy. It was amazing. Bleedy, man, these guys, just his names, the list can go on.
Those remainder of your NFL years, what are the seasons or the moments that kind of stick out for you, the highlights for you?
I would say my rookie year for one, just because it was, it was nuts. Like the 4th and 2 game, I was a part of that as a rookie, being on the field. And even though we lost the game, like, you're on the field with, Brady and a Peyton Manning matchup, like, and it kind of felt like it was one of the games out of, over 100 that I played. It was probably one of 3 that I felt like, this is kind of like I'm in a movie. Like, you're at the line of scrimmage as a rookie and kind of in the middle of the game. And I remember, like, kind of just being in my stance and just looking over it. It's probably like 3rd quarter, and just, you got Peyton Manning just looking at you like, yeah, blah, blah, just doing all these checks and audibles. And I'm like, man, this is, I'm really out here. Like, it's so the rookie year for sure. And then I would say my coach years, because, the thing about it, NFL and anything in life, you get knocked down, and it's about how you respond. It's about how you react. Being after my 2nd year in New England, got released from New England, got picked up by Carolina, had some things go off the field with my daughter health-wise. That year was kind of a blur almost, and then got released from Carolina after that year, and then getting picked up by the coach and going into my 3rd year, and actually my 4th year. And, having that success with the coach, my first game starting with the coach, so that would be a game that stood out actually. Thursday night football against the Jaguars, had 2 interceptions, ran one back for a touchdown, had a forced fumble recovery, won AFC Defensive Player of the Week. And it was just like, like I'm back, and this is where I'm going to stay. And I stuck it out for 6 years down in the Indies, and just so many different memories, man. Being able to intercept Peyton Manning when he came back in the Broncos jersey, going back in New England playing in some playoff games, even though we lost, picking off Aaron Rodgers and Lambeau. Those are a lot of the moments, beating Peyton Manning in the playoffs in Denver to go to the AFC Championship. Just a lot of great moments, across the line.
What was that? Was that 14 when you were one step away from the Super Bowl?
I think it was 14. Yeah. Yep, because the first year,
like just being able to kind of play for that prize of getting to the ultimate pinnacle of getting to the Super Bowl, or trying to.
Yeah, that was wow. And when you're going into those games, every game you go into, you feel like you're going to win that game. And we knew, that it was stacked against us going into Foxborough, for an AFC Championship, where it's like they host that game every year in Foxborough. But we were coming from we went on the road to beat Denver in the year. So in 2012, won 11-5, went to the playoffs. Following year, we lost the first game. So the Ravens beat us and they won the Super Bowl. The 2nd year, we won our first playoff game. The 3rd year, we win 2 playoff games. We go and beat, I think we beat Cincy. Then we went to Denver, beat them in the division round. Then we go to AFC Championship. So we're thinking, obviously I'm thinking like, I get to knock off the Patriots, Brady, go to the Super Bowl. And it was just so close. And we had beat the teams. We had beat Seattle that year. We had beat Denver that year. So we felt like we had a pretty good shot. But they got the better of us. But it definitely felt great to be in that game and have that opportunity.
Hey, Darius, we really appreciate the time. I'll get you out on this one. What are you going to ultimately remember from your UConn days as you look back?
It was just a great overall experience, just as not only as a football player or as an athlete, but as a person, being on the campus. And it was a completely different place than where I grew up. South Florida was one place, one area where, it was a culture shock, but just being embraced by the state, by the campus, the student body, just everybody, and just everything that I learned at UConn, just really dealing with people, being a professional, being responsible, and then on the football field, a lot of those other things, a lot of those same things, actually, just that teamwork and the belief in the man next to you, working alongside with great coaches, great strength guys, great guys in the medical facilities. Like we just all came together and we did some great things. So that's a time frame in my life I always look back on and smile.
Awesome. Hey, Darius, thanks for the time. Stay safe. Enjoy your family. Hey, you got to reach out to Orlovsky. He's got to get you a gig with him. He's getting
Yeah, Dano is killing it, man. But even when I went up, like I said, we all stick together, man. Even when I went up to ESPN and did some TV stuff, man, he was one of the first guys to give me a call, give me some tips. We're always going back and forth, arguing about different things on Twitter. So I love Dano, man. He's killing it, man.
Awesome. Hey, Darius, thanks for your time.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.